Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Computer Wednesday, we're going to talk about a very hot topic, Apple's iPhone SE 2020 or SE2. So let's dive right into it. Now first we have to understand Apple itself rather than understanding the technology behind it, because that's, again, it's not that interesting. So Apple is very big, very huge in terms of market share, in terms of public perception. It's huge. It's not something that you can ignore. Whether you like Apple or you hate Apple, you have to acknowledge the fact that it's huge, and I mean truly enormously huge. And on top of that, because Apple has worked in a certain way and they try to make their products into a certain niche kind of, developed them into a niche kind of way, that gave them basically aura around them, where it's like, okay, it's a status symbol. It's like, I'm richer than you kind of devices. And you can see that in their price tags, they are using exact same hardware than many Android counterparts, or sometimes directly from other manufacturers, be it like your camera sensor from Sony, or be it display from Samsung. They're still charging a premium amount of money. Now that helps to that high price tags helps people to associate Apple with status symbol. Such a huge thing that people lust over it. Like Apple, every time a new iPhone is launched, people like rush over like crazy. It's like, wow. It's like other companies will kill for that kind of desire in the public. Like that's real. Heck, here's the funny part is, like, even celebrities who like literally get paid in millions of dollars to like endorse their basically provider. Basically, Huawei Mate 10 Pro, okay, that's the what they are supporting. Gal Gadot tweeted via iPhone. And this is turns out to like such a real thing. It's like every dude who's like dude and dudette is getting paid from like other companies to endorse their hardware. They are using iPhone reached that status which cannot be taken away from it, like whether you like it or not. If you value status, you have to buy an iPhone. And there are certain jobs where you have to inspire an aura of like, I'm better than you. People generally use iPhone to do that, and you don't have to speak about it. You just have to like, iPhone, bro. That's serious. Like one of my relatives have iPhone, and he was telling us a story is that one of the person, like one of his client is like asked him like, what's the point with iPhone? Like these are not people who are so rich that they have private jets, but you get the point. It's like, medium class kind of people. And they're like, the fact that you asked what's important about iPhone, that's the whole point. I paid just so you can ask that. And it makes sense, like for the people who status matters or status is everything, that's priceless. Like that's the sole reason why if somebody buys a Rolls Royce or a Ferrari and all that jazz, it's like, it's status symbol. Most people who have Ferrari cannot drive it at the speed that is like made for it. It's just a thing that they collect. It's like most of the cars are just collector toys for rich people. So that's the reality of Apple, whether you like it or not. Then we come to the aspect of this exact phone. This exact phone is basically iPhone 8 with upgraded motherboard and wireless charging. So they're taking a very big risk. Now, in terms of company, you have to understand that there are many people who cannot afford iPhone. Actually, surprisingly large amount of people cannot afford it. Especially, I really get angry when somebody says like they have an iPhone and they're saying they're like in a hand to mouth kind of scenario. Basically, they do not have any savings account. I'm like, bro, you could have saved at least half of that iPhone's cost directly buying Android, and you're like, money is important. You must have some money in your bank account. And I'm reasonably sure people during this pandemic would be like, yeah, it would be better to, rather than having the highest end phone, it would be better to have some money in my bank account rather than be like, waiting for someone else to help me. So that's the reality. Like there are many people who buy it, but they can't afford it. So for many of them, there is one, let's say Silver Bullet is basically the second-hand sale price is very good. So basically, they, let's say, bought it for $1,000, they can sell it for very reasonably. They can sell it for like $500 or $600. So that means they can be up to date, where they are projecting that they are like YOLO, and like they have the high status, and they are not taking such a big financial hit. There are many people who do that. Like that's why second-hand market for iPhones is such an important thing. Now there are two things that's facilitating it. First, very good support, where it's like Apple is gonna support the operating systems in that, so you do not have to worry about like, hey, is it useless or not. It's gonna be useful. Even if you buy after 2 years, you get around 3 years of continuous support. So that's awesome. That's like, yeah, you have a phone that will keep working for 3 years for a second hand phone. That's amazing. So that really creates many people who could not afford it, or like almost can afford it, they utilize that. Like, okay, the fact that I can sell it in a second hand market and still get decent change out of it helps me to continue my this Apple. But the moment the Apple started to release something this cheap, those people are like done. And simply because the timeline starts from the day of basically launch. Basically iPhone 10 will not longer be supported the same way the new phone is. Basically after launch you have to count 5 years. So if your phone is 2 years old, you only get 3 years of time left. So now if somebody is releasing at the same second hand price a new phone, that phone will be supported for 5 years. So you lose that kind of environment. The second hand sale market disappears. Now that's very good for Apple, but very bad for the people who are trying to buy Apple at cycling kind of process. There are surprisingly large amount of people who do that. So that's the first market where Samsung may be taking a small bit of hit or maybe huge hit. We do not know. Time will tell. Then the another aspect now, the sole reason a price creep is happening in iPhone is a status symbol. So it will start at $450, $600, $750, $1,000, $1,100, and modern ones can go up to $1,500. So the reality is that is a luxury symbol. You cannot afford this. That has to be there. I'll give you a simple example. When Honda as a car company, it's a very successful car company, they made a car, it's like okay, tada, and rich people did not buy it. It's like why? Because everybody else can buy it. So Honda created some second brand, which is completely different. It's like just a different brand. They use the exact same hardware, of course, with bit of design and bit of luxury items tacked on, and tada, people start to buy that. So it happens. It's a normal thing. Like luxury can only sell as long as others people cannot buy it. It does not matter whether it actually has the guts to back that kind of price, but it has to have that, aura. What does your Rolex watch has that cheap Casio cannot? Heck, Casio watch will last longer because many of the watches that rely on movements, you have to have a thing that keeps it spinning, otherwise the clock will miss time. I'm like, seriously? You can buy a very cheap Citizen watch which has GPS time, which is solar powered. So compared to that, to a Rolex, what is Rolex? So reducing the luxury appeal of that is very dangerous, because many people might simply try to go more into experimental phone. There are phones that are wraparound screen, there are phones that are folding screens. People may jump from iPhone to those things simply because they have to show dude, I'm richer than you have to understand that, I'm really rich. So for those people, this is this diluting of the market is very bad. And on top of that, because they are directly taking iPhone 8's everything, it does have some very good processor, undeniably so. It's quite amazing for this kind of price range. That's awesome. But it has a very outdated front end. So basically, you put it down, Apple logo is there, whatever logo you can have, Samsung, Sony, whatever have you, it does not have a selling button. The moment you turn it around, it's like, let's say you are in a bar and you're sitting it down and your phone is like this and some Android is like this, same price range. The Android will have almost full body and you're gonna have a giant chin bar. Flat out, the people will dude, what old phone you are? It no longer has that, whoa, iPhone. It is iPhone, it is new, it has the amazing system on chip, but again, you don't see system on chip, you see the front face, and the front face is outdated. So many tech people may be like, yeah bro, nah man, that's no. At this point in time, no. And especially in the front side, you can be like, okay, I have a button that I have to press for fingerprint, and another guy will be like, yeah, I have fingerprint inside the screen. So that's a very risky thing for Apple to do, because they can reduce a lot of people who are have a continuous second-hand selling cycles. Other people might simply go to other extreme phones to show that they are luxurious, and tech people really would not be that happy. Again, still has a market, still many people will buy it, undeniably so, but they could lose a certain core audience that are propping up their prices to go to $1,200, $1,500 and all that jazz. Now, is it a danger to Android? Short answer, yes, absolutely. Why? Simply, there is no competitor flat out at this point in time. If you're like, okay, $400, 400 Android, what can I get in Android? You can get good phone. Now, good phone would be, let's say, Pixel 3a or Samsung A51, but here's the deal, both of them are pre-compromised. The reason for pre-compromising is simply because Samsung sells a very high-end phone, Pixel sells a very high-end phone. Those are very expensive. To justify that, they cripple these phones. So the system on chip are very outdated. This is Apple's genius move, where they're like, dude, it's not compromised phone, it's an amazing phone, it's just a cheaper variant of it. In this scenario, you can have the same AMOLED screen. Samsung is the biggest manufacturer of OLED mobile displays, so they are like, yeah, we give OLED on very cheap things. That's the biggest difference. The sole reason, if I would not even consider thinking about Samsung, basically iPhone is, it does not have OLED, flat out. That's the biggest difference in recent years between cheap phone and high-end phone. It's OLED versus LCD. The difference is literally night and day, and I'm not even talking about color calibration. It's just night and day difference. So Samsung can give you that for a very cheap price. Even Pixel can give you that for a very cheap price. However, the processor that is gonna run all that, that's outdated. So weaker processor flat out makes it feel sluggish. The sole reason Samsung is doing that is like, hey, if I give you the like the same Exynos processor that I'm giving in the high end, why would people buy that? So that in an intentionally crippling part, that's really bad for these phones. That's why I'm not saying there is nothing like directly can compete. It's like, yo, this is our highest end system on chip on a cheaper body. That does not exist. Another aspect, support aspect, because Apple makes only few models. Every model has a supporter. Like if people are there whose sole job is to repair it, or Rossmann group kind of scenario, people can repair it. Android, you cannot repair it simply because, let's say for Samsung, I like Samsung, I want Samsung to succeed, but holy damn, they have like, for my Indian counterpart is like 10,000 rupees to 20,000 rupees, they have 12 13 models in there. Like they are literally burning money away, like just making model after model. And like literally, you go into GSM Arena, try to compare like Samsung M21, Samsung M31, Samsung M31s, and you're like, what the hell is the difference? There is none. Like literally, one have one extra wide camera, one has this, one has that. Like it's genuinely mind-bogglingly stupid. And side effect, any bad thing happens, like your screen cracks or something faulty happens, you cannot repair it, because companies, rather than making like a supply chain, which Apple does, like where like if they want to, they can support it. Samsung, even if they want to, they can't. Why? Because they have like 500 models to support. It cannot be done. So weak support is a really big flaw in terms of Android. And not to mention OS, why it is getting better compared to the past time, but Apple was good from day one. Then for the companies is really bad, simply because these phones do not have profit margin. They have to sell it, but they do not have profit margin, aka a phone will take minimum amount of money to make, no matter which technology you use. Let's say $200, it's gonna take $200, whether you are making it 2010, you are making it 2020, it's gonna take $200. Now if you can sell that $200 parts for, let's say, $800, YOLO, profit. And that profit is not just like, okay, company is becoming rich. That profit goes into R&D. And in case of Samsung cannot do that. They are like selling it like razor thin margin. There is a company specifically in India, MI, they flat out released their phones without profit margin, and they were making profit by accessories. Now Apple can do that. Apple can endure that kind of like loss, quote unquote loss, simply because Apple has huge service catalog. Their biggest service catalog is the App Store, because they take largest chunk from that. Samsung cannot do that. Pixel can technically do that, because again Google App Store also takes a bit of change, but it's smaller comparatively speaking. So you can understand that like all Android manufacturers ends up in a scenario like, we have to give a phone which has the best of the best, but somehow make the profit out of it. That's kind of unfeasible. Samsung could do that because they have the biggest supply chain to do that, but instead of making use of that, they are like, yeah, let's make 500 models per year. So this is very bad for Android. Like flat out, many people who are like on the edge is like, dude, it's a phone, I'm gonna buy it, I'm gonna do phone calls, I'm gonna barely take some pictures and I'm done with that. They will just go for iPhone. They're like, yeah, iPhone, I'm good. Like there is no competition there right now. That's a simple reason, because these things are pre-crippled. Then we come to the most dangerous aspect for us in long term, is that we have finally reached market saturation. The fact that Apple is doing this in 2020, now again, you may say that's because of the pandemic, but again, I think it was under construction for a very long time, is that phones are reaching a point where people are like, dude, it's just a phone. It's not a mobile phone, like not mobile phone as in it's not a desktop. Like you buy a desktop, you use that desktop for 5-6 years. You buy a camera, you use that for 5-6 years. These are equipments that you spend a lot of money and you get a lot of use on a phone. In day one, people like overspent a lot, like, oh, this is the cutting edge, this is the future of technology. After a while, people like, dude, this is just a phone. Just a phone. Like technically you can do everything in it, but again, the operating system is not built in that way where you can just, okay, I'm gonna plug the USB cable and I'm gonna do video editing on it. Technically it can do that, it has the processing power for that, but again, OS is not there. So over time, people started to reach a point where it's like, dude, it's just a phone. And once you reach that point where it's like just a phone, and the fact that you're gonna replace it every year or every second year, people like to calm down. It's like, no. And you can easily see that in their graph, Apple's earnings graph basically. And in Apple, in the early years, they were used to boast about how many exact phones they are selling, new phones, and now they have stopped it simply because they are not selling that much. But that's a big no-no in stock market. In stock market, you have to continuously grow. So you can see that like flat out, Apple's lines have flattened out, and they started to flatten out as early as 2014. People like, dude, it's not growing as much as we are. 2015 is like, okay, yeah, it really is not growing. 2016, okay, dude, we are selling exactly the same amount which you used to sell. And 17, it, like, again, they have peaks, but you average it out, it's like, from 17 to now, it's like exactly the same. So that is why Apple is banking so much money into their services. They may end up buying Disney also, because Disney is going bankrupt very fast. So this reality that phone is not something that everybody needs to change every year, people are like, yeah, no, No, I'm not gonna spend like my like 2-3 months salary on one thing. Then phone are lasting longer simply because engineering wise, phones have reached a point where, like, what was the biggest danger with mobile phone? You drop it, it will shatter. Now that does not happen as much. Glasses are much stronger. Even if you don't have Gorilla Glass, you still can expect your phone to last. It's much stronger. Water was a big issue. Again, phones are now waterproof. Again, it's not like it's like a G-Shock watch where you can swim in the shade, but it's more than good enough. Whereas, like, yeah, rain is not gonna damage it. So brick by brick, day by day, engineering by engineering, we are reaching a point where phone can physically last you 2 to 3 years. So that, again, people are like, yeah, bro, what's the point? It's working, it's functional. What's the point? Then we reach the final, what we call end of Moore's law. Phones are not evolving. There is nothing new in the phone anymore. Like, flat out, you could have bought a very high-end phone in 2015, and till this point, there is nothing that will work. 2015 is the time where OLED started to come in, and you may say like, hey, photographs have become good. Again, you must have not used any proper camera if you say that, like, flat out, the night mode, all that jazz. Again, it has a luxurious point. It's like, hey, but compared to a proper camera, it's nowhere near. It's just a AI scaled up image, and I can easily see that because, again, I'm used to a DSLR. But again, there is no wow factor anymore. It's like, OLED versus LCD, that was a big thing. One camera versus four camera was a big deal. Optical zooming is a new thing that is coming, but again, not that many people are interested. So phones are no longer evolving where it's like justify the buying a new one. Wireless charger, what's the point? You have to put it exactly on top, and I'm like, what's the point? I can just plug it in. It's cheaper, it's efficient, I'm saving the environment also, and I'm saving my wallet. It's like, what's the point? Like, if it was integrated in, like, let's say every car, I would have understood that, but it's not integrated there anymore. And not to mention, every company ends up creating their own standards. What's the point? So the fact phones are not evolving, it's really hurting the fact that people like, dude, my old phone is working well enough. Then as the things mature, we reached a point where processor is not going to become ludicrous, RAMs is not going to become ludicrous. So we reached a point where people like, dude, improve the software. Now that was a very big deal with basically Android was like, they used to sell, hey, this phone has gingerbread, this phone has a honeycomb, this phone has basically ice cream sandwich, because in early days upgrading was not a thing. You had to buy a phone with that. But again, even that Android over time started to fix that. Apple did that right out the gate. It's like, if I sold you a phone, it's going to be supported software wise, at least security updates for 4 or 5 years. So that way, like, even iPhone 6s will get iOS 11, even iPhone 10 will get iOS 11. So people are realizing software is a big deal, and Google has learned that. That's why even my very cheap Samsung phone is getting security updates, but it's nowhere near as basically amazing as Apple ecosystem. So that's the reality of it. And if this keeps going on without ever picking up again, problem is, once the profit margin starts to go down, the company will only reach a point where they will have to shut down R&D. R&D is very expensive thing, and it does not guarantee return all the time. So R&D will be toned down. It's like, so you'll reach a point where it's like, yeah, it's the same. Like, you could literally reach a point where phones released in 2025 would be exactly the same the phone released in 2030 or 2035. Because again, there is not much money in R&D department for people to make something new. So that is why the market stagnation is a very big thing. Now, this was my presentation on why this iPhone is such a big deal. I hope you liked it, learn from it. In that case, please click the like button, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I'd urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show me extra disappointment, and please leave a comment because I'd like to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.